He was called the Duke. The Duke of Flatbush. And he played on the Boys of Summer. He was the all-time National League World Series home run king with 11. He played on 6 pennant winners, and in 4 World Series hit over 300. His averages in those 4 were 345, 320, 320, and 304. They once asked Casey Stengel to compare the incomparable trio of Mantle, Mays, and Snider. And for once, Casey was laconic. He said, "I'd like to have all 3. This man was a superb outfielder, a truly formidable power hitter, and at the risk of overworking the phrase style and grace, which I applied to K-Line, it applies to Snider too. The official language reads this way: Edwin Donald Snider, Duke. Brooklyn, New York, Los Angeles, New York, New York National League, Los Angeles National League, San Francisco National League, 1947-1964. He hit 407 career home runs and tied National League record with 40 or more round trippers 5 years in a row, 1953-1957. Batted 300 or better 7 times in compiling 295 lifetime average. Topped league in home runs and runs batted in once each, slugging percentage twice, and total bases 3 times. First to hit 4 homers in a World Series twice. He did it in 1952 and 1955. Duke Snider.
Thank you, Commissioner. Friends, sound like all of you are. It's too much. I don't know what to say, but I know that I want to share this with my family. You know, Ted said some nice things, but I had to live with this because my wife, Bev, loved Ted Williams. I'd go 2 for 4, a home run, 3 RBIs. I'd come home. She said, "You had a good day, honey, but Ted got 3 for 4. So she really kept me on the ground and kept my head where it should be. It's my wife, Bev. I have 4 children, now 5, being as my youngest son got married. And I'd like to introduce them. My oldest son, Kevin, good ball player in college. Didn't make the pro ranks, but he's a good player. My son Kurt and his wife Kim, he was a good athlete also. My daughter Pam, who was in love with Don Drysdale, Ron Fairley, a lot of them. And my last daughter, she's too young to go through any of this. She's a tremendous athlete, a volleyball player, Donna. I have lots of good friends out there, and needless to say, I was raised during the Depression. Now, if any of you went through that era, you know what it was like. That's why now we appreciate so many things that we couldn't afford then. I wore cardboard in my sneakers because my mother was saving her pennies for a new pair. So we'd get a lot of cardboard all around the places. But I want to thank Pete Rozelle for coming, but not only for that, because Pete and I were high school teammates. In fact, Pete dated Bev before I knew Bev. That's how close we are. Pete was my Boswell. In fact, playing football for Compton High School, Southern California, he was a writer for the school paper and also the Long Beach Press-Telegram. And Pete was building me up so much to make all-league in football. Well, I made all-league in football, second team, but made most valuable player in the league. That's how good he is. Thank you, Pete. He brought along two fellows that were very instrumental in my athletic career. His uncle, Joe Rozelle, and Bill Schleibaum, my coaches. Like Al said, their mom and dad are something special. My father was raised in the Cincinnati and Ohio area, Springfield, Ohio, and he knew that all the ballparks in the National League had short right field fences. So he put the bat on my left shoulder. And I said, Dad, how about I'm right-handed. I can hit right-handed too. He says, you're 2 steps closer to first base and the fences are closer. Stay where you are. Perfect that first. Well, I guess he was right, but they did so much, and my mother just sat back and would shake her head because we got in loud arguments and what have you, but he sure taught me an awful lot, and without them, of course, I wouldn't be here today, and without him getting me started in the right way, I wouldn't have made it. Another man, sort of graduating up a little bit, that again, I wouldn't be here without Branch Rickey. He's a Hall of Famer. We had others. The greatest competitor that I've ever seen, or ever probably will see, Jackie Robinson. Jackie could not only beat you with the bat, the ball, the glove, his feet. I saw him win a game in Chicago one day with his mouth. He got the pitcher so mad that when he got up to the plate, it was Sam Jones of the Cubs. He was hollering at Sam in the batter's box. Now, you don't see that. He was hollering terrible things at Sam. I was a batter, and I heard someone yelling these obscene things at Sam, and I turned around, and I thought it was coming from the stands. It was Jackie. Jackie got up there. I popped out, struck out, whatever. Jackie got up there, hollering at him. Sam got so mad he hit him in the ribs with a pitch. Jackie got to first and danced off first the way that he could do so well. And Sam tried to pick him off and finally threw one wild at first base. Jackie went all the way to third, and he hollered from third, "I got you now, Sam. I'm going to steal home." Well, he didn't steal home, but he kept needling Sam. He bounced the third pitch, a curveball into the dirt. It went back to the screen, and we won the ball game. That was Jackie. The man to my left, Roy Campanella, was the stabilizer on the team, really. He kept us loose. He and his roommate, Newcomb, have many stories we could tell about them, believe me, and all true. One little story about Campy. He and Nuke had outstanding years this one year and won all the awards possible. The following spring, we're in Cincinnati. Campy's batting about 125, and I didn't think Campy would ever do that, but he was at that particular time. Nuke was about 0-5, and the year before, they would go into all the hotels on the road. The telephones would ring all the time, and they finally had to call the operator and says, "We don't want any telephone calls unless it's long distance or emergency." I said, "Okay." And the mayors and everybody were calling to go somewhere. The next year, when they were got off to this bad start, Newcomb got on the bus and he says, "Hey, Roomie," he says, "remember last year," he says, "we were getting all those calls and we had to call down and have the operator just put through long distance calls and emergency calls?" And he says, "Yeah, I remember that, Roomie." He says, Newcomb said, "Yeah, and you know what now?" He says, "We can't even get a wake-up call. You hitting 105 and me 0-5. Couple more guys. I mentioned Gil. Gil was the kind of the stabilizer for us also. He was cool, and I never thought Gil would be as nervous as he was. He'd come back to the bench and his hands would be shaking because he was always so cool out on the field. But he was a needler, and he was one of our dry humor guys. It was just some more guts of our ball club. One more, Sandy KOUFAX and Don Drysdale. I'd like to put them together because these two gentlemen became such dear friends of mine, and I got to know Sandy in 1955. We became good friends. Drysdale came up in 56, and Drysdale took a few years off both our lives, Sandy, but following him around. But the thing was that these two guys were so great, and it was just a pleasure. I didn't play much when Sandy became the great pitcher that he was, but I could hardly wait to get to the ballpark like some 50,000 others to see him pitch every game he did. And Drysdale, of course, a great friend and outstanding competitors, but they all helped in some way or another. And in closing, I would like to thank the people from Montreal that came down today on the bus. That's real nice, and I hope you've had a good time, as we all have. But thank everybody, the writers, everybody. I know I'm going to miss somebody, and I'm sorry, but it's a day where it's a little tough even getting up here, you know. But I'd like to thank God, really, for including me in his master plan for being in the Hall of Fame, being a Brooklyn Dodger and a Los Angeles Dodger. Thank you very much.